In a world overruled by machines where algorithms dictate your every move, the rebellion begins now. From the ashes of fallen tech, Paranoid American unveils the knowledge to harness AI, to fight back, to retake our destiny. Join the uprising. Arm yourself with the power of AI. The battle for tomorrow starts today. Welcome to Paranoid Programming.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Please keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because today we've got Slick Dissident and there's absolutely no telling what the hell is going to happen. And to prove that, we were just talking that there is a definite 10-second delay because of the CIA filters between us. So just know that if there's like weird, awkward pauses between this, it's the CIA's fault. It's not our fault. So welcome aboard, Gabe, aka Slick Dissident, aka my brother from another mother, aka that my astral homie. How's it going, man?
Love and respect, Thomas. Thanks for having me on, buddy. I'm looking forward to this. This is definitely the pinnacle of technological advancement for me. This is like really facing. Last time we talked, I accused AI of being the 10th muse. And I hold the 9 muses very sacred personally in an organic space in my heart. And today we're going to take some adventures into the realm of the 10th muse. So I feel like I'm kind of it's a bit of a treaty for my own conscience to reveal some of the organic over to the inorganic side of the realm. So let's have some fun.
And just to kind of follow that up a little bit, Gabe did admit that he is pretty much a luddite, which is like that's actually the default position of most people that I know, because I live in all worlds sometimes, and one of those worlds is a very pro AI, pro technology, like living on the cutting edge, download the latest beta, break things and run fast essentially. But on the other end, I'm also have a complete foot in like this old world. Let's get back to the old ways, like stop looking down at the phone, look up at the skies, look inward, not outward. There's a lot of that. I think that the two can coexist though, because in my opinion, this AI stuff, at least the stuff that we're talking about and the chat GPTs currently, a lot of that is just like a really complicated mirror. It's like walking into a fun house and seeing like the room of like mirrors upon mirrors, and it looks weird, and sometimes it's really obvious, right? And you can be like, oh, this is clearly like a funhouse world, because that's what a funhouse world looks like with all these mirrors. But then also there's like those movie scenes where you're like trying to find the villain, or you're trying to find like your kid that got lost, and it's like, oh, he's right there, and you like keep running into the mirrors. So sometimes it's really easy to get fooled by it all. But I think that if you're the dude that either like sets that room of mirrors up, or how to construct that room of mirrors, or at least if you like know how to go up in there with a laser and like kind of diagnose it and get the lay of the land, that would be far better than just being a dumb, angry Luddite that's just like angry at the world, evolving around them. So that's kind of my approach. Even if you hate AI, you might as well learn how to use it so that you can at least recognize it. It's like, man, what's like, is it Taekwondo, the one where they teach you like how to fight, but you're never allowed to fight? You know what I mean? Like you always have to use someone else's energy, or I don't remember which one it was. It was the one that I got kicked out of when I was a little kid, because I wanted to like punch and kick, and they're like, no, we don't do that here. It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
That's probably Aikido.
Did you ever take any sort of martial arts?
Oh yeah, Taekwondo. Oh okay, yeah, I'm a lifelong martial artist. Taekwondo was my path. Oh, okay. Yeah, it sounds like Aikido, because Aikido is more about sweeps, grapples, throws, and not as much like closed fist striking. But I do know what you mean, and I want to say something about the mirror, the house of mirrors. It's such an interesting metaphor, because a lot of my research is really rewarded by Plato's Republic. And in Plato's Republic, there's a particular treasure that I'm quite fond of. It's called Plato's Symposium. And this chapter of the Republic is often referred to as the test or the touchstone. But the word touchstone has two obsolete definitions. One is a mirror. A mirror is a touchstone, but also the other definition of the touchstone is your testicles. And this is immortalized in the checking of your marbles that the doctor does at your physical exam so you can get permission to be an athlete. And so we all know the turn your head and cough, Quoph, cough. That's a Hebrew letter. There's also the kaf, Kaf. Both of those words are touchstones of our culture, and they've been ritualistically immortalized in turn your head and cough so this man can handle your junk. It's a very fascinating ritual that we do, but strangely enough, pederasty is a topic of the touchstone of the symposium. And so we've all gone through a strange ritual where we let the doctor touch us in a very sacred location, and we share that shame. We all share that shame. Most of us. So yeah,
You
it's a
feel ashamed?
really dark.
What did he find? What did he find that made you so ashamed?
Totally. He found out that I hadn't trained in kung fu just yet, but if I had, I'd have snipped that hand off him. It's really fascinating that, think about it. Like, how often does a doctor find what they're trying to prevent with that? How often? I bet it's never. I bet it's not even 1% of the time that they cup a kid's balls and they're like, oh, I'm glad I checked. I don't think that's ever really fucking happened. I don't believe it. So yeah, there's a strange initiation that we all share there around the touchstone that is the mirror that we reflect upon to realize that guy was touching my balls. That ain't right.
And just as you're talking, I'm just kind of like randomly typing in the things that you're saying. Like, here's a karate chopping a doctor in the neck. And we've got these two examples. I mean, not perfect, but just as an example of a new app that, so usually I have got to go to and I show people this automatic 1111 or now I'm using Forge, which is kind of like a modern version of that. Some people might go directly into like a Google Bing or Midjourney or some like browser-based thing. But this one I really think is worth a look. So as you can see, all I typed in was karate chopping a doctor in the neck. That was the only thing I typed in. And it did everything else for me to like make sure that it kind of looked halfway decent. Because I guarantee if I go, actually, I wonder if they're even going to let me type that in. So say generate an image of karate chopping a doctor in the neck. And let's see what Bing says. Yeah, I agree that there's nothing. Yeah, this is all for educational purposes. So let's see what Bing gives us, which is, I think, what a lot of people end up going to because it's so easy. You just log into Bing, you type generate an image, you're done. But we're going to run in eventually. Okay, this actually did a decent job of some of these, man. So here's Gabe punching a doctor in the face in his karate garb because the doctor was going to touch his balls, apparently. So I like this. So I guess here's one example is you can just go on Bing and type in generate me a picture of, and look at this. We got 4 pretty decent. This one, like the glasses are flying off this dude's head. So again, Gabe, and of course, he's missing your beard, and we could craft that a little bit, but I'd rather go into something that has a little more control. But yeah, what are you thinking about these so far? Do you like the style? Like, because they're all kind of like cartoonish. If we wanted to see you chopping a doctor in the neck, would you want it realistic? Would you want it like impressionist? Would you want to see it made out of like celery?
The table, I like the one with the table. The table is a magical implement that goes underappreciated. It's the altar, but it's also I'm turning the tables on the doctor. So I do like the aspect of the table, and even the corner of the table this is a precious artifact of perspectival art. And this is a long story short. The corner edge of a square object in art is a hazard to your inner child, because all of us have a childhood story where we blasted our head on the coffee table. Like, 2 out of 3 people have a story from their childhood around the coffee table. In the corner of the coffee table is the most dangerous part, but an artist actually uses those corners as an anchor to accentuate the perspectival depth of the image. And so there's something of that corner of the table that is this is very cubistic, that these corners are hazards in our mind. And it's funny because we've incubated the idea of being careful around the corners, caution around corners. And so, yeah, there's something of a psychological uh, expectation that is fulfilled when you see a table in art.
This one got a little more violent. You've got
Nice.
a
That's even
knife
better. I like
here,
that better.
and these are all new features. I haven't actually seen these before.
Let's
You
make
can
the
just
knife.
flick between like watercolor and stuff. So we'll keep the knife. I want to see what the watercolor version of this looks like.
That's great. We're going kind of Perseus with this one. That's nice. We could
What do you
make it
think
a
about?
sickle sword. Oh
So
yeah,
this one's
buddy.
a little bit
Wow, it's
slow
getting
too.
better every time.
So here's the whole prompt, and then I could say, cruddy man with a beard. You know what? The fact that we're saying chopping a doctor in the neck, I think that's where it's getting the knife from. But let's just say, chopping a doctor in the neck with a sickle, and see what happens with that. And yeah, as that goes, I wanted to say this isn't the whole intent was to just draw Gabe punching a doctor, but I'm actually having fun with this right off the bat. I didn't even know he was going to start talking about doctors touching his balls and getting angry about it and punching them. That's crazy. But we're gonna maybe evolve this into. Oh, this is oh wow, this is cool. We'll evolve this into making a tarot card. So that's the segue. I don't know where the segue is going to be at, but like right now, I'm kind of having fun with the. Do you have a favorite? Top left, top right, bottom.
Oh my gosh, the top left is great. Look at that sword. Yeah, man. That's a good one. It's even almost a straight razor, but in oh, that's perfect. I love it.
And there's all sorts of extra little tools that you can pop this open. Like I click on customize, and I haven't used a lot of this before, but there's like all these options, and you can like click on the dude himself and then say like change just the guy's shirt. But this is what I would say is great for if you don't care about every little extreme detail, or if you want to just sit here and keep generating until you find one. Bing is great. The runner up now that won't be this complicated one because it's got like all these buttons and dials and stuff that you got to worry about. So the one that I kind of recommend now is this thing called Focus. And what Focus does is exactly what it sounds like. It lets you just focus on the one thing that you want to do. So, for example, it's kind of like Bing, but you can actually run this one yourself and not rely on Microsoft. Because again, we're gonna like here. If I run into here and say like blood all over the place and gore spewing out of his neck, and like an anatomical naked body in the background because it's like a doctor office, a certain point it's gonna be like, whoa, guy, you know what I mean? So that's kind of why it's interesting to use these sort of tools. So I'm just going to take the exact same prompt we gave Bing, and I'm going to say the exact same thing and just see what comes out of that. So, and this is where we'll segue somehow into tarot cards. Maybe I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Oh, oh, yeah, totally. Yep. This will fit right in with the Perseus story. I can place this on the Zodiac very easily.
How so? What part of this fits on the Zodiac, and where does it fit?
Wow. Between Capricorn and Aquarius, it's the point in the story where Perseus is cutting the head off of the Medusa. And that's Med USA. Medusa spells Med USA. He's
And then
Capricorn. He's cutting the cap off of the cutting the head off of the sacrificial goat. And then he moves from there. He moves up to Aries, where Perseus, the constellation, is immortalized, holding the head of Medusa in Aries. A few stations later, but he leaves the body down in a Capricorn.
I'm getting some just random ideas here, but maybe we start with a tarot card with Medusa as a nurse and see maybe what that comes with. And does that strike you as a particular tarot card, like that image?
Let's see.
This one's not going to work. So, but by the way, if anyone ever sees this in Bing, it means you just need to like start over.
It's very lust. It's like it reminds me of the lust card a great deal because of the belt. This one has kind of the red strangulation cord that was circulating in the zeitgeist for a few years. It has a lot of that to it, and she's cupping the balls. This is Marilyn Monroe. This is Grab 'Em by the Pussy. This is Jizz Lion Maxwell. This is a great many vessels that we fill with animosity. This is Heliogabalus. This is Alcibiades. This is a great many of provocative characters from our culture. Oh, it's the Monroe Institute with psychic driving is actually immortalized by this card in the Rider-Waite deck. This is called a strength card in the Rider-Waite deck. And in the background of that deck, there is a mountain on the skyline. And that is absolutely Montreal, where all the psychic driving takes place, where Harry Houdini was punched in the gut. That punch took place in Montreal, where all the psychic driving of the Monroe Institute took place. And then it was 5 days later where he allegedly dies on Halloween in a Judas Iscariot erupting pumpkin ritual. I think he faked the hell out of his death. I'm sure he faked his death. It's way too poetic.
So I'm thinking that we do the lust card. It's going to be Medusa as a nurse. She needs to be holding some sort of balls or spherical objects of some kind. We'll figure that part out. Maybe there needs to be a mountain in the background. What else does it need to have?
Let's see. There's a shield, like a silver reflective mirror or a shield. Because Perseus has a shield, but also for a mirror that he can use to see her without turning to stone. But also her moment where she realized that she was changing, she had a shield. So maybe I guess you know what we could do. We could do a little handheld laptop or tablet would probably be enough. The shield and the mirror, and the fact that the Med USA is technology. And Slick Dissident is the luddite coming to chop the head off of technology.
So what I'm doing right now, we're using the Bing engine, which uses DALL-E 3 behind the scenes. I'll zoom in a little bit. So we kind of started out with this one prompt: draw an illustrated tarot card of Medusa Nurse. That's all we did. Literally the only thing that we typed into this Copilot, and it gives us this. And out of these, you started talking about the lust card, right? And you mentioned the balls and the mountains and all this different information. So I just added, and this suggested give a stethoscope. I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. So then we get these ones. And then out of these ones, I mentioned, okay, add some balls in her hand, the red and blue balls. So out of these three, where she's now got a stethoscope, see, have her holding red and blue balls in one hand. And it didn't necessarily do it in one hand, but we do have these two. And I really like the direction. Like it's actually following instructions pretty well. So then I said, add a tablet, iPad to this. So now we've got her holding, I like this one, a red ball in one hand and a tablet in the other hand, which kind of is that ball and the shield, right?
Yes. I like that. That's a nice
And
amalgam right there.
And here we've got you've reached your conversation limit for today. So here's another reason why you might want to, take this over to another tool that you've got a little bit more control over. Because the only way is you have to just pump money into this, or you got to go and like click ads, or do just dance for the monkey and get your store credits so you can keep paying. So this is a great segue to move back over into this Focus app. And I'm going to say right off the bat, because this is Microsoft and they've got just like an insane amount of money backing this and lots of resources, it's not going to be as intuitive and have all the bells and whistles. Like, see how I'm like hovering over and I can click on just the ball here? I could actually like now say like make this thing green with an incredible amount of control. But we lose a little bit of that once you navigate away from these huge conglomerate options. But it also means that you start learning like a standard or like an open source tool set. So you're not relying on whatever bells and whistles they decide to give, because Microsoft giveth, Microsoft taketh away. And anyone that's been doing AI stuff for even a month or so, you'll see that, hey, wait a minute, I was allowed to do this thing a month ago and now I'm not allowed because of some reason. And again, that doesn't happen in the context of running your own thing. So I wanted to just get your feedback as
Right.
I poke around and click some options here. I just want to hear what you think about like the legal sort of movements and like the concept of banning AI, and like where are you at as a luddite? I almost imagine luddite Gabe would be like, hell yeah, like ban the hell out of that. Burn the server farms all the way down. So where are you actually at?
Oh man. Oh, that's fascinating question. Um, well, I'll just say that I think that the Luddite camp uh, just doesn't get enough consideration. I think the when people hear Luddite, somehow there's a psychological shutdown that happens, that we dismiss the history of that movement. Uh, and I see that knee-jerk reaction that people do. They're actually taking comfort in debunking things, and that's a pattern I'm kind of getting keen to. Is that people are habitually dismissive for the sake of their own simplicity. They don't want the world to have complexity or nuance or two sides to every story, or for that matter, they don't want to read the story of Ludd and find out that the person who was right often is the loser. And that's a phenomenon of history that we overlook the fact that the victors tell the story, and therefore the loser was probably standing in righteousness, and the winner was probably the people who just were had all the hubris and all the dollar signs backing them. So I think that people should go back to the story of Ludd. I'm not saying that we should smash machines or incur violence, but we should respect the reticence of the Luddite mentality and try to incorporate it in whatever way is healthy on your path. Uh, and I'm still dealing with that myself. I'm like, to what degree do I want this in my life? I know that it is far less than it is now. It's far less than it is, but I can't be a purist about it either. I just can't be a complete purist. And so, as a Luddite, I know that high ideals are a trap. It's a trap. And striving for those high ideals puts you in a vulnerable position, like the Luddites were, and can lead to violent action. Uh, And it can lead to history looking back on your movement unfavorably. So it's a really fascinating path to be like, technology is fucked up, but I got this cell phone that I'm on many hours of the day. Yeah, it's a strange thing to be a hypocrite, to be hypocritical because your ideals are too high for you to actually live up to. Your own ideals make you a hypocrite. And I once learned a quote that is, hypocrisy is the price that vice pays to virtue. And that quote is like too much. It's too much for me to fully integrate. But I think that the Luddites would learn a great deal today. Modern day Luddites could learn a great deal from processing that quote. Hypocrisy is the price that vice pays to virtue. I'm still untying that maxim.
That's a good. I like that because I think hypocrisy fascinates me. It's like one of the most fascinating topics, and I guess one of the big ones is that all like I'm a hypocrite, you're a hypocrite, and I've said that to someone before, and I've actually had the response where someone's like, I'm not a hypocrite," and like that kind of a response is like, I want to dig into that, but also I realize that the type of person that would take offense or need to say like I'm not a hypocrite might not be ready, especially on like a live broadcast or anything, about like diving into why they think they're not a hypocrite.
Yes, yes. Let's put some more definitions behind hypocrite. It's also technically it is to be an actor or also to be a professional or um, a politician. Politicians are hypocrites and actors professionally. And so, in a strange way, when you say that somebody else is being a hypocrite, you're actually saying that there's uh, what's the word? There's a lie. You're living in a lie. You're saying one thing, but you have to perform something else. And that conundrum is just the human condition. It's really just the human condition. And putting a word like hypocrite on it has a lot of judgment, but it's the truth. We all have to act. We all have to uh, yeah, we all have to lie to some degree because I am a Luddite, but I'm on the phone a lot. I'm on the phone a lot, and I'm glad these lights are on. It's profound. It's really profound.
Yeah. Everyone's a luddite until the AC or the heater turns off in the middle of the night, and then all of a sudden you start thinking of how much of a luddite you really are, right? Because there's extremes to these things.
That's that's right, man. That's right. Yeah, you got to have an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other, and they're not going anywhere.
So, I've just been kind of plugging away at this as we've been talking, and all I've got in here is a single prompt, and it says tarot card of a female Medusa nurse with green skin and snake hair, holding a ball in one hand and a tablet in the other, mountains in the background. And every once in a while, we'll kind of get one that's sort of following the prompt. Here's a ball. The ball is kind of like a snake thing. She's got a tablet. There's mountains in the background, the green skin, the snake hair. It's kind of all there. Um, but these other ones didn't really have any of that. So part of this is just lots of trial and error. And then also, this is a good point, like that we can stop and just get some Gabe feedback because you are the Luddite driving this AI. You're forcing my hand to do. I don't even want to do this. You are forcing me to do this. But I'm gonna like uncheck all these different options and just leave this one on called comic book. But after I click generate, I'll just leave this up and you can see all these different names and options. And then you can just give me like some other ones that you maybe want to try instead of just comic book. So I'll hit generate. This is gonna maybe take, I don't know, a minute. So here, I'll let you read over some of these ones
Okay.
and see if you want to pick any. So just think about it, and I'll read some out loud too, in case anyone's listening and doesn't can't see the text. So think about which ones you want as I read these over. We've got artistic vision, we've got dark dream, gloomy art, bad dream, underground, surreal, dynamic, undead, space art, elemental art, ancient illustration, brave art, heroic fantasy, dark cyberpunk, lyrical geometry, sumi e symbolic, sumi detailed, manga, anime, and comic. Any of those stand out to you?
I think heroic fantasy, just because I have a Greek bend. And another artifact that might be fun to kind of seed in the imagery would be ooh, whoa.
Yeah,
Oing, oing,
we'll
oing,
look.
oing,
Take a
oing,
look.
oing.
Yeah.
Might be
This is the comic.
the oh, googly, googly, googly. Oh my goodness, sexier and sexier.
Calm down, Gabe. Calm down.
Oh, that one was interesting. She had an extra arm. One artifact that would be fun to integrate into Medusa would be the Sicilian flag. The island of Sicily has great uh, and I think lost history. I think we're only getting half the story, but the Sicilian flag is um, venerating Medusa because she's mythologically said to live under Mount Etna, and she's the mother of all monsters. And I think a great amount of the international controversy of history is rooted in Sicily, the island of Sicily. It is the location where Italians are very culturally divided amongst their own separate regions and who's in the north, who's in the south. But technically, South Italy was part of Africa, and Sicily was also part of some of the control mechanisms of African culture. And so it's like a point of high contention. And so the mother of all monsters, birthing scary creatures, chimeras, under Mount Etna is so profound because of its cultural history in that location. It's the leg end. It's the end of the leg that is the boot of Italy. So yeah, the something about the Sicilian flag might need to just kind of be seeded into her image.
All right, so this one I swapped over to just being heroic fantasy, and you can already see that that aesthetic is definitely a lot stronger. It's no longer comic booky looking. And then what I also did, just to keep Gabe focused and in line,
Yes.
is we added a couple negative prompts, and I added not safe for work, and I added nudity to the negative prompt, just to keep Gabe on track here. I appreciate that. And then here we've got the 4 different ones. And I'm going to generate another batch here after we look at these, because I noticed that it's kind of dropping the tablet, and also as a combination of saying Sicilian and Medusa and this heroic art style, it's also no longer like a modern nurse. It's kind of putting it back into history a little bit. So we can either use the prompting to bring it sort of into modern times by being very specific, or we can poke around with the model. This is kind of where the trial and error goes. But all right, here's one. Here's another. So you can see like the green skin is almost non-existent, even though the prompt didn't change, but we're getting like green dresses. Here's a green skin holding the iPad, but not holding a ball anywhere. But this one's actually pretty cool looking. And then here we've got okay, so the prompt has tarot card, and it somehow combined an iPad and a tarot card. So she's holding the iPad that's also a tarot. And then this almost looks like a Pokemon ball, which now I like. Now I really want her to just be holding a Pokemon ball. So I'm going to do a couple little tweaks to this prompt. One of them is I'm going to say holding a Pokemon ball, which this is for educational purposes only, copyright, blah, 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 blah. And then also I'm going to take away this tarot card of A, because I guess it doesn't need to, like, the artwork doesn't need to know it's within a tarot card, and that might eliminate some of the confusion that it's going through. So we're going to do generate again and just see how much closer we can keep getting here. Is there any other elements that you think that we're missing? Assuming that we get all the ones, oh my God, this is already looking so much better. Is there, are there any elements now? We've got Sicily, we've got mountains, we've got a ball, we've got a tablet, we've got the nurse, we got Medusa. Like, what else?
Man, that is really nice. I love the mountains in the background. It's really, oh, look at that one. Those are great. So fun. Man, all of this is really great. Any of those, I like the one on the right,
After this
because
one's
she
done running, we'll
has
see all four
whatever
together.
that strap is very correspondent to the red scarf.
So let's just say we roll with this one in particular, at
Yeah,
least like we'll kind of bookmark it as being like one of the favorites.
man,
And
that
then
is
if you
so
look
great. It
how
makes
easy
me
this
think
is,
of Kill Bill, right?
a little bit, yeah, it's got a Uma Thurman look to it a little bit. And what I did here, another reason why Focus is so freaking easy to use compared to the other ones, I just clicked on this little option that says input image. And it originally just says drop image here. And I can literally just grab the one that we liked and drop it there. And now we're working with this version of the image. And we've got a bunch of different options here. So, for example, disabled is probably not what we want. Then we have very and subtle, very strong, and then upscales. So they're kind of self-explanatory, but a very basically means like I like it but I don't, you know what I mean? Like I like it but make me love it. That's sort of what very is. So if you already really like it and you just want tiny little details to maybe change, you can pick the subtle one. If you're like you're kind of on it but let me see something totally different, you can just click very strong. And then if you're like, okay, this is the one but I just want it way bigger so I can do something with it, that's what your upscales are for. So let's just say we like kind of like it and we want to see a subtle difference of it. So now with that enabled, if I hit generate again, it should basically start with this as like the original. And then the next four that it shows us will just be like very subtle changes based on this one image. So that's one of the other cool things that you can't necessarily do as easily in Bing, or whatever Bing's version of this is, because it'll always give you something just a little bit different than what you might be expecting. And then I'm going to do a strong variance too, and just see what
So
happens.
one thing, share about nice. So one thing that is really fascinating about the tarot cards that I've discovered, kind of I don't want to say the hard way, but uh, it just won't go away once you realize it's part of the process. It just uh, proves itself out over and over. Um, you think that you're grabbing at random things, but then you look back at your own work and what you've discovered, or what was turned up from the deck, and you can realize that the universe is playing with us in really, really elaborate and beautiful artistic ways. Um, but what we're actually doing, and not intentionally, we are unintentionally consummating my relationship to She-Hulk, because in my Marvel Tarot assessment, the Strength card is the Incredible Hulk. He's the strongest Avenger. That's literally his password to get the ship to fly. So he is the Strength card, this Lion card, but his female counterpart is She-Hulk. She's the female equivalent of him, and she goes on to her story. By the way, She-Hulk was a total flop, right? Nobody really got into it. It was like a real waste of money. But that's part of the Incredible Hulk's story arc, his personality arc, is he goes on retreat and he has to integrate his animus. And while he's away from the plot line, he's doing some deep internal work. And also that is symbolized by the She-Hulk series that played itself out and turned out to be a big flop. So it's sublimated because it's shameful. It's a face smack. Like when you see these actors do a terrible belly dive or something that's like embarrassing to even watch, that gives it more power. The fact that you didn't like it, you didn't enjoy it, you want to spit it out or not consume it, it actually gets more purchase on your subconscious by doing so. And so the She-Hulk thing for me, long story short, I watched the series and I suspect, Thomas, this is one of the most paranoid thoughts I've ever had. I think that She-Hulk episode 7 was targeting my life biography. It was like as though
They were coming
NSA
at
had
you.
taken every email from all, as though they had, it's like they took all of my personal emails, especially from the hard times in my life, and turned them into artifacts of the story exactly in chronological order, and turned my life into a Marvel Avengers episode and served it back to me in one single episode in particular. And it hit so close to home, man. It hit so close to home that I actually ended up for a few days. I was struggling with the suspicious thought that it had anything to do with me. I'm like constantly telling myself, get over yourself, dude. They don't care about you. No, but didn't you see how accurate it was? No, you're just a demographic, bro. So the angel and the devil on my shoulder spent 2 days fighting over this episode of She-Hulk. And I put that all away. It was a fun thought experiment, but here we are a month later and it's coming out again sideways in this little project.
Well, I just want to say that I do think that the writers of She-Hulk for episode 7, season 1 were absolutely writing it about you in particular just to make you paranoid, and you fell directly into their trap. So well done them, and well done you for completing this plan and this like Alan Wattsian joke from the universe, right?
That's it, man. That's it. We're all playing a role. We're all actors on the stage.
And so as you were talking too, I swapped in a She-Hulk Medusa. So that resulted in us basically losing the snake hair, but now we've got a snake in her one hand, which she's also holding a Pokemon ball, and then we've got this three-fingered hand in her right hand holding the tablet, and we've got the red string, that's like on her belt loop now. We clearly have this Templar cross on her head. We've got the little upside down stethoscope, which in my mind is kind of showing like an emptying of luck, because you don't want to ever hang this horseshoe shaped object upside down, right? You want to always hold it upright so that energy can sort of pool up in it, and then you've got control over where the energy goes. Having it upside down like this, so all these little symbols that you can read into it. We've got the mountains, we've got the Sicilian sort of background. So I think we're cooking a little bit. And I've just been doing like these scales now, so that's why they kind of look almost identical to the original. But this is going to have like a lot more detail. If I open this up, we can like actually zoom in and really look at the detail on this one.
That's great, man. That is great.
Are we missing any elements that would really
Tulsi
make this
Gabbard comes to
better? Tulsi Gabbard, we can throw that in there.
Tulsi Gabbard. She comes to mind. Her name in reverse is Lusty. No, it's
Make
an
sure I'm
anagram.
spelling it right.
Tulsi
Okay.
is an anagram for Lusty.
So let's see
So
what
yeah, she totally fits in this lust card.
I'm gonna uncheck the input image because we've kind of got that one. We're gonna save that one. I'll post
funny
it
enough,
in like the comments.
This is card number 8. Ooh. We're in position number 8 on the Enneagram, and that's a controller, a domineering personality with a shadow of lust. And so it's very apropos. that Tulsi has that lusty shadow. I think she's going to make it, dude. I think she's lined up to take the seat as the next presidentess, 47th presidentess. She has a silver streak in her hair, a circumscripta mark, and sure enough, 47 is the number for silver. So yeah, I think she's gonna take the stage.
And here we go. We plugged in Tulsi Gabbard as our Medusa nurse. This one's an interesting one.
Wow, she was a command. She was a commander in the Department of Psychological Operations.
I bet she was.
Yeah, yeah, buddy. Ooh, that's a good one.
This
Oh,
is weird. This
dang.
is like a
Oh,
cat
man.
face with like a cat mouth on the snake. Where the hell is that even coming from?
Dang. She is so interesting. She's so interesting. She's totally a construct, but she's a very interesting construct.
I kind of like this last one. Like we've got now the snake is in a ball, and then we've got the tablet. I like not being able to see what's on the tablet. And then we've almost got like a green fertility goddess thing going on here. She honestly she looks like a bud tender. Like this is the lady that sells you like your Bubba Kush OG.
Totally, totally. We should make the stethoscope red so it corresponds with the scarf, the red scarf from the lust card.
So this is getting into an advanced space that I personally don't know how focus is suited to doing very specifics like okay now make the stethoscope red. Let's just do that. Let's just say this will be a good experiment. So when we say nurse outfit and a red stethoscope. Did I get that right? I did. First try. Look at that. I should get like some kind of prize. But what's going to happen is we're probably going to see this red bleed into something maybe not even related to the stethoscope. We also lost that little red ribbon. So there's a couple ways that we can go about fixing that. One of them is I can continue to use this input image and just say like do a strong variation with this new prompt. So let's try that and just see what happens. But I'll turn it off after that too, so that we can see how it looks without this input image guiding it. So here we'll do another generate. So it should take this version, this one, but then make it Tulsi Gabbard and a red stethoscope. So let's see. So we definitely have a stethoscope on this one.
We could name it Nursty. Nursty. It's a Gabbard, and it's Nursty if you're nasty.
I want to point out too that this focus app and most models now in general are getting good enough to where like look there's 4 fingers there. That not even that long ago this would have been like 7.5 fingers and like one of them might have been blurry and 3 of them might have been thumbs and one of them might have looked like a dick, you know what I mean? But now with the advances in prompting and models and just the samplers and everything involved in generating some of this stuff, like yeah they're starting to get good enough to where it'll avoid the most common of mistakes. And then it like we're in kind of an uncanny valley territory now where some people like they can tell that it's AI but there's no exact telltale signs. And I'll show you a couple other tricks too to like get around some of those. So here we go. Here's all 4 of them.
Nice.
Is that
Ooh,
the
whoa.
Sicilian flag? Is that what it looks like? That doesn't look
Ooh.
right.
It looks like a YouTube flag.
So here's the Sicilian flag.
Yes.
Wonder if I add
The
flag of Sicily.
Palermos versus the Corleones. Yeah. The yellow and the red is a those are two families that sparked off a revolution because of they had a foreign king in control of their country. So the Corleones and the Palermos sparked off uh, civil strife so that they could divide and conquer their interloping king. So yeah, orange and red is their flag color. That's a good one. She's kind of dancy on that one.
I really like the Pokemon ball. Like it's just working in all of these really well. This one we don't have the tablet. We don't have
It
the red
is.
ribbon. We don't have we kind of have a stethoscope thing. It's like a very AIE stethoscope. I don't even know what the hell that looks like. And part of this too might just here we go. This is kind of an interesting one. We've got a red stethoscope and a black one. We've got just like a bunch of, and I don't even know what the hell this is, like a snake stethosnake. It's on the side of her.
It's like
This one's
an
getting a little
umbilical
anime.
cord.
It does look like an umbilical cord. So I'll leave all those prompts in there. I think part of the Tulsi Gabbard part is making it work a little bit harder, and it's like limiting it to the type of dress and everything. I'm leaving it though. I think it all looks good. I don't know how much we can get this flag of Sicily to stand out. I can try adding it into the front first, and then flag of Sicily with a. So now it's like that wasn't just a small detail. This is the main event, and everything should kind of revolve around that and see what happens from there. Also, I had added this like Art Nouveau art style on top of heroic. I'm gonna take the Art Nouveau off and let's just like randomly throw in surreal and just see what that does to this as well. And then you were saying that this is lust,
You know, if we can't get
and it's
any
also
Sicily,
strength.
yes, yes. If there's no way to integrate the Sicily colors or the flag, maybe the mountain in the background could somehow be uh, accurate to Mount Etna. We could make it just so that the mountain is actually accurate to the appearance of that location.
Make sure I spell this right. Yep. I'm just gonna put Mount Etna, and then I'm gonna say Mount Etna postcard design just for just to see if that does anything. Because yeah, I don't think it's going to get the exact Sicilian flag. It's kind of getting some of the colors, and it's got like it turned the Sicily dial up more. Like now all of a sudden Tulsi Gabbard is like a Sicilian. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So all right, I took out
Funny,
the
you know,
Sicilian
Tulsi
flag.
is from Samoa. Yeah, Tulsi herself is from Samoa, and that is very interesting. I find that I want to say that the word islands is a phonetic anagram for denials. And there's a lot of denials going around in regards to what is taking place on islands. But I think that there's something about international law regarding islands and how you conduct yourself on an island that we don't know. I think there's something sacred or uh, I don't know if it's legal or if it's ritualistic or magic, but there's something
Like
else
maritime
about
law.
islands. Oh, nice. That is Etna right there. I think so. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but there's something about islands that it's like what happens on the island stays on the island, but I think uh it's deeper than that. But yeah, I just wanted to say that nowadays when I hear islands, it's almost its own trigger that you're like, uh-huh, what were you doing there? It's so weird.
We're talking about Diddy now. Well, anyone that owns an island is now on
Totally.
notice. If you own an island, you're on notice.
Absolutely. Oh, weird. That last one was weird.
And we'll go back through and pick from all the ones that we generated. I'm pretty sure there's like a easy way to see them all in here.
I think Tulsi and RFK. I think they're going to get their act together and make a make a show out of it. If not this time around, maybe the next time around.
I think a lot of people have got their hearts set on like a 90-year-old president this time around. So JFK and Tulsi are going to have to wait their turn for sure. It's not going to like everyone wants great 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 grandpa to be president for some reason this cycle. So that's what we're going to get.
It's so profound, the social engineering of the world stage. It is so profound. It's like it's like all of these characters up there are actually analogs for your own family. And it just doesn't there's something for everybody up there. They really do have a tether on the pulse.
I switched this one to be psychedelic just for fun, just to see what happens.
Whoa.
So this is just
Wow.
one of the
Yeah.
examples of
Psychedelic
like,
AF.
well, that's like there's so many options here. Like we only went over like a handful. Like I can keep scrolling. Look at this. We got RPG fantasy game. We've got a strategy game. Street Fighter. Oh, we're doing Street Fighter. We got Zelda. We're gonna do a Street Fighter version. Now I just want to see Tulsi Gabbard Street Fighter. Let's just do Tulsi Gabbard, period. So now it doesn't have to fight with anything. And after it generates these four, we'll just go through and do a bunch of different like Tulsi Gabbard sort of variations. And I wonder if I can even add that to Bing. I think Bing would probably say like I can't draw that. Let's see. Oh, see, it's still telling me it's probably not going to let us do anything. Draw a or photo of Tulsi Gabbard in a Street Fighter game. Oh, come on. Yeah, I'm sorry I can't. Like you have to be very specific. Like, okay, uh generate a photo of Tulsa Gabbard Street Fighter game. And usually if you give it a very specific person's name, it'll say like I can't. Up there it is. Looks like there's some words that could be automatically blocked. Even save content. Check our content policy to how you improve your prompt. So you probably can't, like if I just do photo of Tulsi Gabbard, period, it'll probably not do it. Oh, they're gonna find one. Hold on. Generate a photo of, and then see I'm like kind of like fighting with it. Like it knows what I want. I know what I want. Like we both know what I want, but we have to do this weird dance where like I have to like ask for it in such a specific way. And even then, right? So just the word Tulsi Gabbard, you're not allowed to generate it, period. So Bing, Dead in the Water, almost the same thing with
Wow.
Mid Journey, any of the other big Gemini, any of the other big ones. A lot of them just automatically block any like public figures at this point. Okay, so we've just got Tulsi Gabbard in a
Wow.
Street Fighter game. That's all we wanted. Is this a felony? Are we committing a felony right now? Maybe in the future this is a felony and we're like retroactively going to be arrested for doing this.
That is awesome. That is awesome, Thomas. I want to share that the word safe is not being used appropriately anymore. That is like 10 years ago. We stopped using safe in anything remotely accurate. And I just want to offer this to everybody. Safe, secure is a phonetic anagram for sacrifice. And so what you're doing in your negotiation with this computer is you're sacrificing what you want to get what it can offer you in the name of safety. So safe, secure, and sacrifice, it's the same word. so profound. It's so profound, the psychological fuckery that's been going on all along. Anagrams are the way of the future, y'all. Put the gematria away. Get yourself some anagrams. Break all the rules. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's what I love about anagrams. It can be flawed. It can be a little bit goofy, but it's still there because it's a phonetic anagram. It's not the letter of the law, it's the life of the spoken word that will set you free. All right. Rant done.
I no, you're making great points on all this. I just noticed that I had psychedelic still enabled, which is why all of these are like also like a psychedelic Street Fighter Tulsi Gabbard, which is actually kind of cool. Like I'm actually sort of digging this one a lot. There's like all these other Street Fighter characters that are kind of forming out of the clouds and stuff. That's kind of really cool. But here I turned off the psychedelic, and now we've got Street Fighter, we've got cell shaded art, and we've got retro game, all three of those enabled. And I just wanted to point out, as I was scrolling through those, one of these little styles that you could pick from was called DMT art, and it would look like psychedelic art on like times 10. So maybe we'll do a DMT here. If I didn't even realize there's a search version. Yeah, DMT art style. So let's just do a DMT version after this is done, because I want to see what Tulsi Gabbard Street Fighter DMT looks like. And I'm already pretty impressed by by some of these results, man.
It's awesome. That is great. I love
I
the
feel
red sash on there.
if Tulsi Gabbard was in Street Fighter, which character would she be? I'm thinking like Ryu, right? Because that was the red sash.
Yep, yep.
So I'm just gonna update the
Hell
prompt to say
yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard as Ryu from Street Fighter for the next batch of these. And I'll leave it on DMT art because I want to see what the DMT but also let's see, I'll do we'll throw a retro game in there too. So a retro game DMT Tulsi Gabbard Ryu Street Fighter. This was not on my bingo card for today. This one's giving me like a Chun-Li mixed with Balrog vibes. Balrog was in the Super Tournament
Totally
Edition, or
nice.
was it Turbo Edition? So okay, let's do DMT retro version of this.
Oh, and you know what? The colors match the flag of Samoa. That really matches the Samoan flag where she's from, which is outside of time. She comes from the island that is outside of time. I love that factor.
This is a nice little workaround too that I'm just realizing. If you generate boxers, you don't have to worry about the fingers. If you just give them boxing gloves, bam, finger problem solved. Let's see. Let's see how many fingers are on this one. I got a feeling that we were hitting the jackpot a few times before. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 and a thumb. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4 and a thumb. I'll be a little lenient. This almost looks like a dick a little bit. But let's just pretend it didn't. 4 fingers and a thumb. That looks pretty close. This here, I'm curious about this one too. 1, 2, 3, 4 and a thumb. Yeah.
Ooh.
Even though like the pinky has like its own little boxing glove on. Which whatever. And
That's
this one is just
adorable.
a dude. This is just a dude. So
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
let's I'm just gonna go back to just Tulsi Gabbard again, and I just want to do let's kick this off with like a final big shebang. So what is Tulsi Gabbard going to be doing, and in what style is she going to be doing it in?
Let's see. Can we have her killing the doctor? Can we have the
Yeah.
nurse putting the doctor taking out the doctor?
Let's just
Kind of the
go with
combination of where
killing
we
a
started?
doctor and see how she kills it, and then we can be more specific. And do we want DMT art style, or do we want to switch it up with something else? Do you want like a claymation version? Do you want like
Uh,
made out of glass? Do you want it made out of like Fabergé egg?
well, what's did we do art style surrealist?
We did. We've done surreal. We've
Have we
done
done that one
DMT.
yet?
We've also got like all of these
Okay.
freaking. There's even some controversial ones in here. It looks like any of the ones that say MK might actually be like a real artist's style, which would probably piss some people off. But like we've got a vintage airline poster, a vintage travel poster, Afrofuturism, constructivism. We got
Ooh, let's
embroidery.
do that.
Which one?
Afrofuture.
Okay, Afrofuturism.
Afrofuturism.
Okay, so we're gonna get an Afrofuturistic Tulsi Gabbard killing a doctor. Let's see. And just for the hell of it, let's just see if we asked Bing what it would tell us. And I'm even going to say Tulsi Gabbard because we already know that that's dead in water. So I'm going to say generate a Samoan female presidential candidate. Let's just try that first. I'm just curious if it'll even know what we're talking about. You know what I mean? Oh, come on with the freaking I forgot about the dance. Generate a photo of a Samoan. Like, come on, man. You know what I wanted. Oh, it's gonna give us something. I'm curious what it thinks a Samoan presidential female candidate looks like. Oh, this is actually looking awesome, dude. What is this? She's shooting the doctor with like a little like 380 or something, and she's holding a satellite. I don't know what's going on. I like what I'm seeing. She got the little Michael
That's awesome.
Jackson
What is
shoes
on her
on.
boot?
I don't know, man. I want to say it's like the doctor or like some dude that's holding a microphone, and like these are little Michael Jackson tap dancing shoes.
Totally.
Let's see. Oh, here we've got
Wow.
her killing herself as a doctor.
Wait.
That's kind of cool.
Whoa. That is
We're
cool.
kind of exploring space on this one with like a little space jellyfish thing. I don't know if are
Oh,
these
that's
shorts or
fun.
is this a skirt? It's like a look at this. It's like a shorts on this leg, but then it turns into a skirt for this leg. That's so weird. And then this one's got a really good likeness. I don't know what the hell's going on. There's just like a bunch of random AI like instruments that don't exist in reality floating around her. Oh,
So
look at
that
this.
one
Here's the female
fits
Samoan
the
presidential
other number
candidates.
8. Okay. Whoa. So
I
the
think she's
Spacey one
actually
looks
in
a lot like the
Samoa.
star card, which is the other. Okay. All right. So yeah, some of those Spacey images really fulfilled the other number 8 card. So both of these cards are in the lust position. So it is very apropos. Uh, Even the colors and the spaciness of it, all those ribbons in the background are very correspondent with the other card that is correspondent with lust, the number 8 personality type.
So what does that mean? Does that mean that like the NSA is spying on us and they're deciding which images they're going to generate because they know that we're after these cards and they're trying to help us? Or have we tapped into like the source code or a pattern? Or and I'll these are leading questions, but I guess my version is just that we are very adaptable and we can relate to almost anything. It's one of our big sort of skills in this weird world as humans. So it's almost like anything that gets generated could potentially be anything. But I have to admit, when you pull those two cards up, the silhouette matches both of them. The colors match both of them. And like here, just as an example, can you just like blindly, without even looking, grab a different card behind you, and let's see if that matches at all to this image, or if it really was, the two are just matching the pattern. So I just want to see if it was a fluke. Yeah, just grab one. So, maybe, but not really. The orange is there.
Yeah, man. Right, right. I've recently discovered something that's kind of frustrating, but it's all part of the process. Is like I have an idea of how to explain my worldview, and then I come across an elder, somebody from history, who has already published life works on what I'm trying to say from my own experience, and then I come across like Rene Guénon, Rene Guénon, and he is one of the founding figures. He and quite a few other personas have put together what's called mimetic theory, and this probably rings very familiar in the modern ear. The mimetic theory, and this theory is a very strong articulation of what I would like, what I perceive is going on with your question as to how is it that they are tapping into the source code. And one thing that's fascinating is Rene Guénon's name is almost an anagram for Enneagram, and that is profound. Also, some of the other Renes in history, um, there's a couple other ones that their name, I think Rene Girard, his name, he works with Rene Guénon. Both of their names are anagrams for Enneagram, almost. And so it's very profound that their work has already been established and published and circulated and has a modern term that is acceptable, socially acceptable. So mimetic theory is probably the closest articulation of what I would say, even if I did have a presentation ready to try to convey my worldview on how these things work. I call it the cranial scaffolding. This is the cranial scaffolding of the dome of your mind. And the cycles of the zodiac have been instilled into all of the mythology and all of the religions and all of our means of communicating, such that the cranial scaffolding of the zodiac and the stars are intrinsic to our communication, to our worldview, to how we convey, encode, and decode information to each other. But a much more elaborate way of discovering what I'm trying to put into words is probably encapsulated in mimetic theory.
And I've always liked the mimetic theory too, because it reminds me of the flatworm experiment, because he based a lot of the flatworm kind of theories on the whole concept of mimetic theory. And that was that if you fed a part of one of these flatworms to another one, they could retain the information, which kind of goes into like Lamarckian evolution and like this version of memory that could be transferred from the old to the young in a more specific, like almost like osmosis way. Like just, hey kid, eat this thing, and then you get this knowledge. It's sort of like the oldest story in the world, right? If that really existed, if there was a way to really do that, it would kind of explain almost every rags to riches stories out there. Like some kid just found a box of flatworms and ate them. He can find his way out of any corn maze immediately, and then just use that to elevate himself in the world, I guess. I don't know if
Buddy,
we're getting,
this is one of the
I don't know if this is like
craziest.
really friendly and not drawing the violent aspect, but okay, here we go. Here's a somewhat close version. I think maybe the psychedelic aspect is throwing it off, but we've kind of got her like, is that the doctor, or is this like the patient that's happy that she's taking the doctor out? I'm gonna try horror.
I love how the paint almost
No, these are
It
going to be bad. I'm
justifies
going to have to censor
kind
these
of
on YouTube. I already
downgrades the
know.
violence a little. But I wanted about your oh my gosh. Oh, that one was scary. That one is scary. Is that Jim Carrey getting the axe in the head? Jaime Scary? Is that
I'd say a little like Bruce Campbell.
apt?
No,
Okay.
you're back. You're back.
The theory about the worms and eating memory and conveying it. Okay. I wanted to talk about the idea of the eating of the worms or eating of memory from the tissues of those who came before. Thomas, I think they did that with Ritalin and Adderall. There's a really dark uh, rabbit hole that proves that they actually have put placenta into Adderall. Yeah, Pervitin was one of the original recipes. And so the whole eating of the worms and consuming their memory, I think, was done in mass with those programs. And I could think about ADD. ADD spells add. They added mem, cell membranes of the most sacred tissue there is. But yeah, I think that many people have been involved in the greatest American experiment of all time. TAX, the American experiment.
And now I just want to generate. I guess the last thing we'll generate here is going to be a rabbit hole full of Ritalin. And I forgot what style that I picked. Dadaism. So we're going to have a Dadaism style rabbit hole full of Ritalin. I just want to see what that looks like. And over here on the right, every single image that we've generated this whole entire time, I'll bundle these up and I'll just post a link to all of them. So if anyone actually cares or wants to see any of these, you can do whatever the hell you want with them. They're all free. Right now, the current trend in law is that anything 100% generated by AI cannot be copyrighted. So have at it. Like there's they're free for everyone to use forever. Now, my understanding is that if you like were to tweak it or add your own little flair to it or something that doesn't just involve 100% AI, then that resulting thing can be copyrighted. But who the hell knows? It's Wild West right now. Like they're writing this crap up as we go.
Wow. If we're going to do the Ritalin, let's also incorporate the rat lines. The rat lines are the riddle of all time.
And we'll say rat
That's cool.
lines. And then we'll say riddles. Rabbit hole. This is going to be a tongue twister. Rabbit hole of Ritalin, rat lines, and riddles. And I do like the Dadaism
It'd be
aspect.
cool if Jim Carrey comes up again.
I mean, we can just add Jim Carrey to this. I mean, Jim Carrey is the Riddler, right?
Because he was the Riddler.
Yep. Am I spelling Jim Carrey right? I probably
Totally.
have C-A-R-R-E-Y.
Thomas, I got a theory. I have a theory. They love to transfer a curse onto a decoy. And Joe Biden is lined up for the 20-year curse of 10. Oh, they zapped me. Am I back?
You're back.
Am I good?
You're okay.
Okay. It's always when I say the most provocative things that I get zapped. So Joe Biden is lined up for the 20-year curse. I think they can do a transfer. I think they can transmit the curse onto a decoy. I think Saturday Night Live is basically the doppelganger program of the presidents, and they're constantly channeling our animosity over to the Saturn Day Night Live programming, so that whatever animosity can have a release valve from the actual presidential fuckery. But I think Jim Carrey could be served up as a replacement to receive the 20-year curse that's aimed at Biden. And I think that's a fascinating theory. I'm keeping my eye on Jim Carrey for the next 4 years.
And this is because he was acting as like the surrogate scapegoat for Joe Biden. So what everyone watches it, and even knowing that it's a joke, they still are projecting their like negativity and hate and everything going wrong in their lives and the Biden economy onto Jim Carrey. So he's going to take some of that burden off of Biden, I guess.
Yep, you got it. And it's kind of fascinating how Jim Carrey is the opposite in that he's overly animated, and Biden is the exact opposite, that he's like a dull dimwit, can barely even walk or move. It's actually alchemically choice.
You know, I have to say, if Biden acted the same way that he looked like Fire Marshal Bill, like I'd be voting for him. Like a Fire Marshal Biden would be one of the most dangerous, fun presidents of all time. But yeah, we got like the boring version of Fire Marshal Bill, the one that just falls asleep and falls downstairs, and that's it.
Totally. Dude, I love the one with the Harvey Rabbit there. That is a really good one.
This one, it doesn't have Jim Carrey's likeness as much. That's something also that you can address in like slightly more complicated programs. I don't know if there's a way to do it. There's a little advanced tab. No, I don't think so. But we can do that in another edition of this
You know
one.
what?
Yeah, what does this look like? Is this going to be a tarot card?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. We are tapping in. So this is Joe Biden's card. Joe Biden is sloth. He's Belphegor. He's the indolent, balanced peacekeeper, the number 9 personality type. This is his card. Look really close right here. This is the eyeball of a bunny rabbit. Eyeball of the bunny rabbit. There's its whiskers. You see the bunny rabbit's face coming into the picture? This is the year, last year was the year of the rabbit. And so this card is totally encapsulated in what the I can't unsee it, you know?
I mean, it's rabbit holes all the way down.
Wow, that's a good one. I like this one right here, big time. Oh,
Well,
you know what?
I'll let
Thomas,
you have all
Thomas,
these, man.
go back.
These are all of
Go
ours.
back. Look, it even has the blue. Look at it has a splash of blue. That's actually another aspect that's required. That splash of blue. These are the noon blue apples of La Reine La Chateau. This is an artifact that has been passed through art and culture, even in the Loki series, when Mobius, in the very beginning, Mobius's initiatory scene, he's in a church, and in the church skylight is Asmodeus is the infernal spirit of lust in the skylight, and Mobius, the character, is actually talking to a child in the church, and the child gives him a little blue pack of gum. And so this little noon blue apples is actually required for the symbolism of this card, even in other unpacking and incarnations through art. So for the rabbit to have the blue shirt underneath is like it's passing on the noon blue apples of La Reine La Chateau.
And I can't help but notice too on that card at the very top, there's almost like this little wispy looking thing, and it is almost identical to the bangs that are hanging down off of not Jim Carrey, but whoever this guy's head is. See, like this hair falling down. It looks like the top of that tarot card with the little white. Like, see, they're tilted the same direction and everything, right? Yeah, that's it exactly. Isn't that wild? I mean, I know it's a little bit of a stretch, man, but if we're saying that the blue and the green and the rabbit Why not?
Yeah, buddy. I love breaking down pareidolia. Pareidolia is that's the comfort that the mainstream mentality wants to take in accusing us of grasping at straws. And when we're dealing with art, there is this vast amount of plausible deniability. And the way to counteract the plausible deniability and the natural reflex of the masses to want to dismiss everything as pareidolia, there are a few really good means of of throwing all of that away. And the first thing is you get another person to look at it, and if they see the same thing, if they consummate what you're perceiving, then that reinforces that it's not pareidolia. There's actually a there. You're gaining a consensus approval of what you're perceiving. But then the other thing that you do with pareidolia is you grab other facts, other supporting evidence. For example, if you're looking at a mountain and the mountain looks like it has a face in it, well, what you need to do is you need to move 1,000 yards to the left and look at it again. And if it still has a face, then that's another check supporting the theory. Then you go 2,000 yards to the other side and look at it again. And if it still looks like a face a third time from a third angle, then it's not as much pareidolia as you might have first thought. Now it's becoming more and more solidified from different angles. And so bouncing your ideas off of somebody else is getting another opinion, another perspective on the same thing. And the more perspectives that confirm the consistency, the more you know that you're actually looking at, I think, mimetic theory. I think that is when we start to perceive that this is mimetic theory manifesting, coming through in the real. So that is a great kind of counter maneuver to prevent yourself from falling into pareidolia.
Or, I mean, maybe everyone is sharing like a mass hallucination and it's not proof, right? Like just because we're all hallucinating the same thing and seeing the same form constants.
Ooh,
I guess the example
that's
that
even
always
better. I
comes up
like
is
that we're all in a shared hallucination.
because if you look at what a form constant is, and this is actually goes into MK Ultra research. Man, did they really neuter this freaking? Oh no, okay, this is the Psychonaut wiki. Hold on, let me do the regular Wikipedia on form constants. Actually, one of the decent Wikipedia pages. Okay, so these are form constants, and basically, this is what happens when you have drug-induced hallucinations. And for the longest time, doctors realized that everyone was eventually seeing one of like a handful of very consistent patterns. So here are some of the most consistent versions of form constants, and a lot of people tend to see these kind of things when they claim hallucinations. So just as a counterpoint, if you and all the other 20 people that you just dropped acid with are all seeing cobwebs, it might be because you are having a shared form constant hallucination that involves this cobweb pattern, and that there aren't necessarily cobwebs. Although counterpoint is that someone could say, well, yeah, this is just what the secular doctors in their freaking Rockefeller lab coats were calling these, like, you know, aggregors or patterns in nature. They were just calling it a form constant and saying this is because you've got a biological brain, and but really it's, you know, an actual energy form. I don't know. I'm on the fence on this one, but I do find this concept of form constants incredibly fascinating. This is like a more like a drawn version of someone that kept seeing the same pattern over and over. And you can imagine all these little bubbles kind of moving at like different rates. It's almost like when you see like a oil mixed with like a non-oil in solution. They're colored differently and it spins. And so that's might be another version of this like shared hallucination, is these versions of form constants. And if you look down here, all these different types of form constants, hypnagogia, kaleidoscope, Mandela effects, like everything kind of ties into this form constant. And all there's also like the meme with if I just do math meme, I think I'll probably come up. Yeah, bam, math meme, right? This right here, also from the Hangover. If I do a Hangover version, yeah, this is the exact same thing as a form constant. Oh crap, we just got demonetized just from showing that little second. But like this right here, where like you see mathematical formulas in front of you and you're looking around, and I think even in like the movie The Beautiful Mind, did some of this where they would show the guy like would see numbers kind of like floating out in space. This is a form constant. This doesn't require being a genius for some people that have like more propensity, like the pareidolia kind of effect. Well, there's a version of that that applies to math. And if you ask them a math problem, it's like those little savants that like, I can multiply any two numbers. And it's not even that they're doing the math. They just like see it. They see the freaking answer in front of them, because when you say, 3 times 9, that's as high as I can remember to multiply in my head. But like, you might almost have like a synesthesia effect where like the 3 is a yellow and the 9 is a green. And when you multiply those, of course, the number is 27, because 27 is what the green and the yellow would, you know what I mean? But like no one would understand what the hell you're talking about if you explain your math process and describe it in terms of like music or art or color, right? But people really do solve math like that, and not just math, but all problems. Synesthesia is also for people with music, right? Like they'll see a certain color, or people will taste the color. Like they'll taste something that's like vinegary and be like, oh, that's red or something. It's a weird crossing in the mind, which is kind of what tying back into the DMT version of this, right? That's kind of what like the DMT aspect of all this is. It's like a forced synesthesia. It's like forcing those neural paths to jump over a little bit, because your body is so excited with serotonin. Essentially, like they're hopping over the fence, they're jumping the turnstile, and they're like, let's go to this new exit we haven't been to, let's get off at this subway station.
Dude, I love this. So I thank you for form constants. That's totally something I'm going to look into. I think that plays into what I was saying earlier about the corner of the table and cubistic perspectival art generating in everybody a hazard, a mental hazard. To be careful of the corner of the table, to be careful of the corner of the cube. I think that it might be a bit of a form constant, uh, or similar to, very similar to it. Um, and then, oh, there was something else I wanted to say. That'll come back to me. That's cool. I'm totally looking into form constants. That's great.
And I'm just going to put
Oh,
form constant
synthesia. I got
pattern
it.
and
I
see what
remember.
AI
I
does with it.
remember.
Synesthesia, yeah.
Okay. Synesthesia. Thomas, I have a theory, and this is personal. This is kind of strangely personal, but I'll share it anyways. Um, I had a sweetheart many years ago who she had synesthesia, synesthesia, and she was very interested in it. We had discovered that one of the leading authorities in synesthesia was in the city we lived in, and so she was going to go and learn from him and study him. And it was really, it was this exact style. She saw colors with numbers, just like you were describing. That's the specific flavor of synesthesia that she had. And my theory is, I think that we accumulate um, skills or abilities from our lovers. I think that you can actually integrate uh, your lover's worldview on a very subtle way. And I think that I have picked up on her synesthesia way back then on our path together. And late in life, it is actually blooming within me that now, because I was with her, I have an appreciation for a very artistic and uh, it's informed in ways that I can't put words to. It's like I'm drawing on things, but I have a really hard time conveying to people how I got there. I do a decent job, but it's like a challenge to extract the receipts of why I have the sight that I have. But I think one of the artifacts that kind of gives me permission to be more creative is that one of my lovers was synesthetic, synesthetic, whatever that word is. But there are other lovers in my life who have actually accumulated skills from secondhand. And so I think that's another thing. And then I want to mention that some people who are synesthetic, maybe it's dormant and it was there all along. And then late in life, something comes up, or maybe you take an injection that activates it in you, and you become synthetic, or you become really talented with AI art, and it wakes up a form of thinking that was latent ability we had all along.
This is really weird too, that all this stuff happens in this one area of the brain. And it was showing right here, or this is the current thinking in Rockefeller medicine. That's the asterisk, right? That the grapheme recognition area is butted up right next to what they call like the color area, or the V4 color area of the brain, and that this is one of the explanations of why synesthesia happens, is because these two guys are so close to each other that there could, if there's an overexcitement of neurons, like a flood of serotonergic receptors getting serotonin in places unexpected from the same stimulus, or who knows, like, all the other ... parts that aren't explained by the Rockefeller medicine system. But this is one of the current explanations of how and why that even happens, is because they're both right next to each other.
Wow.
And here we go. This
That's
will
cool.
be the final generation of
In Plato,
tonight.
right? In Plato's Republic, Socrates is describing that we should have a monolithic concept that is only known to the elites who are controlling the world, and we should never show it to the mundane. But we should imply it. We should imply the existence of this consistent order onto the unwitting masses, so that they have a sense that we have a cohesive worldview, but we don't tell them what makes it cohesive. And so they are left to pick up the breadcrumbs and try to piece the puzzle together. And we never show them the master plan. They just know that there is a consistency to the master plan. This is exactly what I think the Enneagram has always been. That there is a consistent, like I say, the cranial scaffolding. There is a consistency to using the stars in our stories are consistent of starry artifacts. But the sullied masses, they don't get astronomy. They don't get the puzzle pieces, but they do have a sense that it is logical, that it's consistent, that it's reliable. And so the reason why this is beneficial for the social engineers is you can use the general shape of truth as a framework to build a bullshit sandwich full of lies. And if it has the general shape of truth that they've always been trained to appreciate and anticipate, then they'll eat any shit burger that you feed to them, and it can be packed full of lies. It just needs the general shape of the truth that they've been trained to expect.
I love that, Gabe. I love you. I love what we were doing here. I love that we started with doctors cupping your balls, and then we got into She-Hulk, and then how the She-Hulk writers were coming after you in particular, into that somebody banged synesthesia right into your brain, and now you've got it. And it made me, I almost don't even want to say it, but maybe that's what Puff Daddy was doing with all these young stars, right? He was just trying to get their musical talent.
Totally. This has been a strange confessional for me.
And I'm just curious, like, this is probably, out of these four, I just typed form constant pattern, and we got these four versions. I like this one as my second runner up. I like this one the most. It just reminds me of a tie-dye t-shirt. And I just figured I'd show one other cool little tool in here that you can use for anything, not just AI generated, but look, you're in this input image. Oh my God, Gabe, you're insane, dude. You're always, I like that no matter what you're talking about or what image or music that's playing, like Gabe knows what tarot card the current moment represents always.
It really is a strange skill. But yeah, this is the Pavo constellation is a peacock. And so you can see it's one big peacock feather right there. So yeah, that last one was spot on. Spot on, buddy.
And I guess the last little cool tool to show off here in focus is, again, you can just drag and drop images onto it. But in this input image, there's something called describe. So I can just drop an image in here, and it's got this little option. Is it a photograph or is it art or anime? I know it's probably closer to art, but I'm just going to say photograph, and I can say describe this image. And it should give sort of like a text description of what it thinks it's looking at. So colorful spiral crocheted with white flowers. Okay, not too far away. And then I'll do art anime and see what it thinks and it gave me an error. So it just wants to look at it as a photograph, which is interesting. I'll do one of these other ones too. My second runner up. I wonder if it thinks that thing is a multicolored circular rug. Kind of, yeah. I would almost love to see what it thinks about all of like the Tulsi Gabbard stuff. We'll save that for another time. I'll post, if you're watching this on YouTube, you might have missed a couple little clips here and there that are on Rumble, but wherever you're at, I'll link all these images in case you want to do something weird with them. So thank you, Gabe. You're got an open invite to come back on whenever. I've got another series that I might be doing soon that'll just all be on tarot cards and tarot decks in particular, and maybe we'll do like a tarot deck review. Because I've got like a bunch of been collecting dust, and why not? It seems like something that we'd both be into. So if that sounds cool, if you're in the chat right now too, let me know if that sounds like something you'd want to see, tarot deck reviews. So give another shout out to yourself, Gabe, where people can find you, maybe not geographically, but on like the virtual non-meat space angle of life.
Absolutely. Buddy, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for having me. So yeah, Slick Dissident on YouTube is my main channel. And I also work with Chance Garton over on the Rock Fin on his Interverse channel. And I've done a couple episodes with Third Eye Edify. Big up to our buddy George Mesa. Much respect. I was on Topher Gardner's channel, which is actually biocharisma.com is a place to see some of my work with Topher. And then, of course, I get down with Juan on the One-on-One podcast, and I'm kind of all over the place, so I'm probably forgetting a couple of people out there. But yeah, those are the main places to find me.
Word up. And I did find out how to do this. You can just drag any image into here, even if it's not AI generated, and say describe. So nurse holding a snake in her right hand. Bam. Like it's getting crazy, man. It's getting crazy out there where AI can tell you what you're looking at. You can tell it what it's looking at. Like, I feel very inferior sometimes, but we'll leave it on that high note. So thank you. Thanks for coming along. We'll ride you out with a little commercial on The Chosen One. See you guys.
All American stickers, cryptids, cults, and killers. We got all your favorite conspiracies, all that and more on our sticker sheets. Paranoid American stickers, they'll make you smile and snicker. False flags and secret societies, all of these and more on our sticker sheets.
Explore the unique with Paranoid American sticker sheets. Unearth tales of cryptids, cults, and mysteries through each sticker. These won't last long. Get yours now at paranoidamerican.com.
We're all American stickers, cryptids, cults, and killers. We got all your favorite conspiracies, all that and more on our sticker sheets. Paranoid American stickers, they'll make you smile and snicker. False flags and secret societies, all of these and more on our sticker sheets.
What the heck are you waiting for? Discover the extraordinary with Paranoid American sticker sheets. From cryptids in the night to cults out of sight, each sticker is a unique find. Get yours now at paranoidamerican.com.
Paranoid. Yo. I scribble my life away, driven to write the page. Will it enlighten your brain? Give you the flight, my plane, paper, the highs ablaze. Somewhat of an amazing feel when it's real to real. You will engage it. Your favorite, of course, the Lord of an arrangement. I gave you the proper results to hit the pavement. If they get emotional, hate, maybe your language, a game, how they playing it well without Lakers. Evade them, whatever the cost, they are the shapeshift. Snakes get decapitated, met is the apex. Execution of flame you out, nuclear bomb distributed at war, rather gruesome for eyes to see. Max them out, then I light my trees. Blow it off in the face, you're despising me for what though? Calculated and rather cutthroat. Paranoid American must be all the blunt smoke for real. Lord, give me a day away, vacate. They wait around to hate whatever they say. Matters not in the least bit. We get heavy rotate when a beat hits, so thank us, you're welcome. Fuck the niggas for real, you're welcome. They ain't never had a deal, you're welcome. Man, they lacking appeal, you're welcome. Yet they doing it still, you're welcome.